Broadcast is live.
It is.
All right. I don't have very many outlets to share. So
It's okay.
We should probably go maybe to the business pages. I can do that.
Hey, we've got a few people watching. If you're tuned in with us right now, give us a few minutes. We're going to share it a few places. We'd invite you to share it as well. And certainly say hello in the comments. That's the only way we know you're here watching. So we'll get started in just a few minutes.
Facebook's being weird. It doesn't want me to share it to Prince Street Pizza. It didn't link Prince Street Pizza in your post either.
Oh, did it not?
Yeah, but it's been doing that in other outlets too, so it's weird. Hello, everybody. Do we have watchers?
Hey. Yeah, we got a lot of people watching. We're going to get started in
20.
just a second. I know. 20. It says 22 over here. Giving it one more share.
Kim, can you hear background music coming from my end?
I don't think so.
Okay, because they're jamming some rap songs downstairs. I'm currently sitting in the upstairs. We call it an office. It's not much of an office, but I'm at Philly's right now. The air conditioning is not on because we are currently working.
Uh-oh, you're lagging a little. I hope you don't start lagging during this. All right, well, we're going to go ahead and get started. If you're tuning in for the first time, happy Tuesday. Uh-oh, we lost Brad. Hang on a second. Well, I'll keep going and maybe he'll come back. I'm Kim Baker with the Gallatin Chamber of Commerce, and the Chamber exists to support, educate, and engage our member businesses and the Gallatin community. And so that is why we bring you the C Show twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10 a.m. Today, we're joined, hopefully, by a special guest of ours, Brad Singleton. He is the owner of BriarScratch Brewing and the co-owner of Philly's and Prince Street and a couple other businesses, but those two here in Gallatin. I'm going to give him a second and see what's going on with his technology. And give me 1 second. I'm going to flip him off the screen. Let's see. If you're watching with us, do say hello in the comments. That's how we know you're here. And if you have any questions related to pies or pints or just anything in general, we'd be happy to answer those. Let's see where he went. He's not far from my office, so we might just bring him over here if that's the case. Let's see. Hi, Janine. We're troubleshooting with Brad just a little bit, and he should be back momentarily with us. Hi, Patrick. If you're watching, we'll go ahead and get it started. If you have enjoyed a BriarScratch beer in the past, tell us in the comments your favorite brew of his below. Mine is one that you don't see very often. It's called Liquid Lunch, or maybe the Lunch Box. I can't remember the name of it, but it's a peanut butter and jelly beer. And so it's basically like a liquid peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and it's really delicious. Fran is watching, as is David. Hello, hello. I'm keeping an eye out to see if Brad's running. Hang on, let me go let him in. Hang on 1 second. Just shut the door behind you. All right. We're going to do this a little differently than we normally do. Oh, yeah, somebody said Liquid Lunch is the best. So I found Brad, actually. He ran over here, literally. I looked out the window and he was running. So we'll flip it this way.
Not even out of breath.
He's not even out of breath. It's because you had a hard workout over the weekend doing all those canoeing.
I did. And I'm feeling every bit of it. Slightly sunburned, and my voice is raspier than normal, but.
Well, cool. Yeah. Well, normally we would, if you're watching for the first time, normally we'd be screen sharing side by side, but due to some technical difficulties and Brad's proximity to the office today, we just brought him over here.
I was 2 doors down.
2 doors down. And so I got some conversation going and asked folks their favorite beer, if they've tried one of your beers before. So we've got some comments starting to come in. I'm going to just turn the screen kind of this way. Excuse my office. It's kind of a mess. But we'll go ahead and get started. Brad, tell us who you are and why you're with us.
My name is Brad Singleton. I am a lifelong resident of Gallatin. Went to college at the University of Tennessee, and somewhere along that path, I had this epiphany. I was obsessed with craft beer, and that led me to the idea of wanting to open Sumner County's first microbrewery, and it kind of spiraled into this whole farmhouse thing that we wanted to do out on the property, a little off the beaten path. And so in Cottontown, where I live still, we jumped through all the red tape and the hoops to open Sumner County's first small brewery. And we've been making beer for a little over 5 years now, commercially. As a hobby, I've been doing it for about 10 years. One of the stipulations that kind of hindered that business was that we had to distribute the beer. We couldn't sell it on the farm in Cottontown. And so my next mission was I needed to open a place in Gallatin where I could have a little more control over how our products got to the customers, and without having to kind of go through the middleman. And long story short, I partnered with a guy named Spencer Wakefield. And at the time, he had founded his restaurant on the square, Swaney Swift's. We had done a few events together, and we just started bouncing ideas off each other. And before we knew it, 4 months later, we were getting ready to open Prince Street Pizza and Pub here in Gallatin, which is in the 4 years, the 4 short years it's been around in Gallatin, I think it's become quite the fan favorite. A lot of folks have really just showered us with compliments and all sorts of ideas. And along the way, we've kind of built a team of people that's kept the backbone glued together of that place, and really helped it excel to something that I never ever dreamed of. 4 years into this business, we've gone on to open 4 other restaurants. We sold one in Hendersonville, and we currently have 2 restaurants in Gallatin, one in White House and one in Portland. 3 of those are the pizza and pub concept. The 4th one is Philly's Game and Grill on the square. It's been quite the adventure, and everybody that's supported us along the way, virtual high fives. It's been great.
Hey, and you talked about that awesome team, and David's actually watching, and he's
Hi, David.
David's the manager. Is that what one of the managers?
David is the manager and a good friend of mine. We actually just completed a weekend camping trip, our first, I guess, vacation. Lots of social distancing out on the Caney Fork River in kayaks. So shout out to my annual Cabrew Fest boys. The reason why I'm slightly achy and can't talk normal. But had a blast over the weekend. It was really good to get out in the great outdoors. The weather was perfect. And I got to spend some real solid quality time with my buddies. So.
Well, fun. So the title of this presentation today is Pies, Pints, and Pandemic. And we know that the food and beverage industry has certainly been impacted in big ways over the past several weeks. So tell us a little bit about what that's looked like for y'all and from in the different concepts as well. You know, the brewing concept with BriarScratch, and then also Phillies and Prince Street. It looks like there's been a different level of impact for each one.
Pies, pints, and pandemics, one of those things does not belong. Pies and pints pair wonderfully with each other. Selling these things to customers does not pair well with pandemics. So obviously, and this is no secret, everybody has had some sort of new challenge, some sort of obstacle to overcome. For us specifically in the retail business, you know, it's consumable products. So you have to be able to deliver that product to a customer in a way that they're going to be able to take it and enjoy it. If there's one thing we all have in common, we all tend to eat and drink. So, you know, I don't think that's going anywhere. Now we just have to figure out new creative ways to do that and get the things we enjoy. So first of all, we'll start with Phillies. Phillies definitely was not set up to be the type of, it's not a quick, convenient, carry-out type restaurant. All the food that we prepare at Phillies is typically enjoyed hot off the grill or out of the fryer. It's difficult to send that kind of stuff to go across town and get the same quality. We also have restrictions there with parking and just being in the part of downtown Gallatin. It's just not a quick in and out deal. So we struggled with some really poor sales and until we just decided it was best that we do what's right for this business and take a break, you know, get our staff situated in a way that they would be okay during, you know, so far we're going on like week 9 now. But the reopening is coming like within days. So that's good news. Prince Street Pizza, Portland Pizza, White House Pizza and Pub, all 3 stayed open during the pandemic. We totally adjusted our business model where we completely served customers curbside, carry out and delivery. We work with a local delivery service in Gallatin called Foodies. We work with a local delivery service in White House called Premium Food Delivery. And in Portland, we just started our own delivery service, and it's worked out really well. The great thing about those concepts is pizza. Do you like pizza? I freaking love pizza. And so yeah, I feel personally, this is a personal opinion, I haven't like polled the crowd or anything, but when you think of like quick carry out, let's get something to feed the whole family, like what's one of the number one things that just pops in your head? And so I feel like that alone it's helped those businesses survive. That and our employees that were willing to work in a situation they may not have been totally comfortable in, and to find new ways to make what they were used to at work in a new dynamic. It hasn't been easy for sure. I mean, a lot of complaints, a lot of just a lot of down faces there for a little while that we you know, it was hard to understand what each day was going to bring business wise, but powering through, y'all, and thanks to the customers, the people willing to start using online ordering services, people that were willing to trust us for a whole non-contact situation where our employees are bringing your food right out to your vehicle, setting it in the seat. You've paid online, and it really helps simplify things. So it took a little getting used to, but I mean, I can't thank it wasn't me. I didn't figure this stuff out directly. It was the managers. It was the customer service employees, and everybody else involved. I mean, down all the way down to the person buying a pizza. So, touched on the restaurants, I guess the brewing industry.
Yeah, let me ask you that. So we actually met some friends for a birthday yesterday, and somebody brought us a beer that was named Social Distancing. And it was a beer they've brewed during this. It was a brewery out of Murfreesboro. I don't remember the name of it.
Mayday?
I don't think it was Mayday. I would have remembered that. But it had a tri-star on it, and it said social distancing. So I think that's interesting. We've seen a lot of people get creative during these times. Is there any? Have you?
Are you sure it didn't
anything?
say social distancing? Social?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Right. If Ryan's watching, he can chime in, but I'll figure it out and let you know. But we've seen a lot of people get creative in different ways. Has there been anything new you've come up with? Did you brew a special beer during this time, or what does that even look like for you?
No. One thing I definitely did not want to do is try to come up with some cheesy marketing gimmick to play off of a social downtrodden. Obviously, we all have to do what's best for our business. We have to be creative, and you have to think outside the box. And I will say I've noticed some businesses really, really struggle because they've done something so by the book for so long. Some people don't know how to change on the fly, and that's something that we've always kind of been doing since I got started in these businesses. We'll try something new. If it doesn't work, we'll throw it to the side and try something else new. And it's always about tapping into those creative juices and keeping the wheels turning and asking the people that support your business what they think. Fortunately for BriarScratch Brewery, we were in a pretty good position with a decent amount of stock, and beer has a shelf life 3 to 4 months. That the type of beer we make, we don't do any pasteurization. Beers that are pasteurized are good, for even longer. But we're making a product that's fairly shelf stable, and so we were in a decent position where many of our restaurants were starting to switch over to all this to-go business and all this carry-out business. And if you're watching and you're not familiar with what a growler is, growler sales skyrocketed. We sold maybe 10 times the amount of growlers we would normally sell per day, but we're selling maybe 20% of the volume of beer that we're normally selling per day. A lot of our business is on premise, meaning that people come to the restaurant and enjoy the beer. But now people are, spending more time enjoying these things on their back porch or from their living room. So we have to be able to still get that out. And one thing that we don't have at BriarScratch, it's a really small facility, and we don't have a packaging line, meaning we don't can or bottle. And you may have seen some of our beer in cans before, but that's because we hire a company out of Nashville that actually comes in and packages the beer on site with their equipment. It's pretty expensive, and it doesn't, dollar-wise, make a lot of sense for our size of business. It's just something really cool to have. It's a different type of packaging that everybody's familiar with. But 99% of what we make goes into reusable stainless steel kegs, and those kegs have to be served on a draft beer line. And we have lots of customers that do that, but not very many customers that offer that to go. So fortunately for us, our pizza and pub restaurants have been doing this for a long time. We already have a customer base that's come to expect a variety of beers that they can take home with them. Other folks have kind of jumped on that wagon, and it's really showed. So we sold just enough to keep our heads above water. And since the reopening of restaurants last week, things are almost back to normal as far as our sales, which is nice.
Good. We've got some funny questions and comments coming in.
Okay, my favorite part.
Patrick said, "Is that a stash?"
What else would it be, Patrick?
And then Patrick also made the comment that Brewer Ed is the social distancing champion.
Ed actually made a joke in the first week of the pandemic. He was going to start hosting classes on social distancing and self-isolation. So he spends a lot of his time out there in the holler. If he's not at work, he's hanging out at work, playing disc golf, and it's nothing new for those guys.
Kelly said Basic Biz 101, and I think that's a good segue into what my next question was. You've kind of become, I think a lot of folks in our small business industry here in our community look up to you and look up to what you and Spencer have done as kind of a leading restaurateur, if you will. And I would ask, what tips do you have that you would be willing to share? So maybe advice for some businesses, maybe who are just getting started or trying to navigate this new normal. We've already heard simplify your processes, but what else?
Yeah, simplification. That's a tough one right now. Simplification and consistency. Creativity. It's one of the toughest things. I always say it's hard to come up with a new item because everything's already been thought of, but that's not true. And whether or not it's an item or a product that, obviously there's now at this point, there's almost 8,000 craft breweries. Well, there's been a prediction that over 500 are going to close this month because they were in such a revenue limbo that the pandemic has killed their business. And restaurants too. And we're actually seeing, I think there's a few restaurants just in Gallatin that may not be reopening. And those are for various reasons. As far as advice goes, you just have to be confident in what you're backing, and you don't want to just copycat somebody. A lot of folks out there that look at their next door neighbor and say, "Oh, what works for them, it'll probably work for me." Well, you're two different people. Take the time to find what makes you unique. Get that out to people, and don't stop doing that, because what I've found in the restaurant business is it takes a solid 2 years to really form your foundation of customers. And if you keep giving them the same consistent product every time they come back, whether it be once a week, once a month, once a quarter, they're going to talk about that. And every time they come back, that potentially is going to gain you another customer, because again, if they have a good enough experience, it's going to snowball. And so patience, a little bit of cushion in your capital, very important. Don't try to run it down to the pennies, because there's always unforeseen costs, always unforeseen costs. Right now, we're in the middle of working on a project that's costing about 5 times what we expected to pay, but we're really excited about the outcome, and I think you guys will too if you enjoy coming down on the square for dining. So here in a week or so, we'll get to show these things off. And then daily grind. You gotta keep yourself busy. You have to prioritize. That's my biggest struggle as a business owner, is trying to figure out what's more important each day. And especially being a business owner involved in 6 different businesses. If I want to take Sundays off, that's one business for every day of the week, and it doesn't always work out so smoothly. But another thing I found is 40 hours a week's probably not going to cut it. You have to be willing to spread yourself a little thin from time to time. I find a lot of people ask how I have the time and energy to do everything I'm doing, and it's just because I want it. And if you don't want it, you're not going to get it. And so I feel like that extra hustle, those 12 and 13-hour days, sometimes is what it takes to actually be able to grab success in a short period of time. I guess that's extent of my advice.
No, I think that's all good. Actually, we were working on an ad for the paper, and Angela sent me a proof earlier, and she had put the word luck in it, and I said, let's take that out. I said, fun fact, I don't believe in luck. And she wrote back and said, there's only hard work and determination. And I think that's true. I think everything happens it only happens if you do it and you put your mind into it. And we've definitely seen that with you. Yeah,
hard work, determination, and inspiration.
Yep.
Because, we may get really focused on something and just dive straight in, and we're working 2 weeks straight on this one thing. And then we realize, oh, while we're doing this, we should probably, see what other folks think about this. And then all of a sudden these other ideas keep coming, and then it turns into a much larger program than you could ever imagine, which is, I'll say that 100 times over. we didn't have a business plan. We didn't have financial goals with these restaurants. We had an idea and some determination and a couple of creative hamster wheels going on to just kept us going. And we've had a couple of close calls over the years, as far as how we're allocating our energy and our funds. And but we've figured out what works, and we do a lot of our own repairs too. That's another big piece of advice. Figure out, basic electrical and plumbing if you want to run a restaurant, because, one wrong move and the toilets aren't flushing, and then it goes into panic mode. So, but been there, done that.
Let's talk about a little, before we hop off, Phillies. We know Phillies is opening back up next week. You shared that.
Yep.
What, are there any exciting changes you can go ahead and share with us? And will the ice cream social be opening back up too?
Yeah, we're transparent. I'll tell you everything that's going on. Here we go. So if you're not familiar with Phillies Game and Grill, it's located at 102 North Water, downtown Gallatin, on the corner of Main Street and Water. It's what I believe the cornerstone of the square. It's an historic building. The building's 127 years old. It has seen dozens and dozens of businesses come and go over the decades. We had the idea based on, if you've been to Prince Street enough, you're familiar with the duck game, right? The Claude, Kim, how many ducks do you have? You probably have one on your desk somewhere.
Yeah.
So the little rubber duck game, okay? And we have 2 other video games. Well, those video games come from a video game company. They set them in your restaurant. They keep them maintained for you. They come in every month, get the money out. You get a cut of the money. We did so well with these 3 games. We're just like, man, I wish we had another room that we could put more arcade games in. And then we got to talking about how Gallatin doesn't really have a good family-friendly arcade. We have the bowling alley, which is, cool, but nothing aside from that. And we knew there was a few things Gallatin was lacking: a place for kids, a place where families could be comfortable on a Thursday night, and a little bit of just innocent fun for all ages. And so we're like, okay, we need something for kids of all ages. We came up with this whole idea for a simple kitchen setup with a flat top grill. We were going to make Philly cheesesteaks and fill up at Phillies. And that's where the word Phillies comes from. It's not affiliated with Philadelphia. We opened this restaurant and we struggled a lot with it. We struggled with getting business on the downtown Gallatin Square. We continue to do that. We're always trying to come up with new things. When we entered the whole pandemic timeline and we had to close our doors for a little while, which includes the ice cream social, which is a new integrated part on the corner of Phillies, we took the time to do a couple of projects that we thought would improve customer experience, the flow of the restaurant, and just kind of tackle a few things that have kind of been bothering us about the place. That when you have a restaurant that's open 7 days a week, it's so difficult to get in and do something that's going to make dust or that's going to require power tools So we just jumped right in. We started moving furniture around. We started building. I like to take materials I can get and create things like, for example, I have this live edge wood slab that was cut off my property. It's been sitting in a barn. We wanted to make a cool countertop in the window looking out towards the courthouse. So we went and got some iron pipe from Lowe's and a couple of cool light fixtures, and boom, there's that. We built a new welcome sign, if you will. When you walk in the front door, used to at Phillies, you would look down a 40-foot hallway at a silhouette of a person at the cash register. And it could create a little bit of confusion. You didn't know if you were supposed to seat yourself or if there was supposed to be somebody to come meet you at the door. So we built something that would handle that. On the other side, there's a trash can receptacle to help keep tables up at the front of the restaurant cleaner, faster. As you walk into the restaurant, you'll notice we moved the bar around. We changed the flow of customers. So, hey, there it is. Look at that. Yeah, we built that out of just some quick materials, some stencils. So we changed the order counter up. It's bigger. It now aligns with a window that we cut in 2 years ago that we've never been able to use. It looks over to the game side. So now you can come up to the counter from the game side, which is going to improve customer service, improve speed, because as many of you know, we don't have servers that come to your table at Phillies. It's more of a deli style. So we want to be able to make that more efficient with the space that we have to use. The biggest thing that we've done, other than add a few blenders and devices in the ice cream shop for smoothies and faster milkshakes, also to improve customer experience, we have totally moved everything around in this restaurant 5 times to do a full refinish on the 127-year-old hardwood floors. They were really rough. They were sticky. A lot of dark scuffs just from all the traffic and the people that have done work to these floors over the past 10 or 20 years. It's never been professionally done, and now it is. And we've never spent as much money as we're spending on something like floors because we don't own these buildings. We rent them. And so we've kind of questioned ourselves, why would we want to do such a major improvement to somebody else's building? And the main reason is because it's an awesome building in downtown Gallatin. It's historical. These floors have some kind of energy absorbed into them, and we wanted to do it right. And it's amazing how many people will talk about some hardwood floors if you do them right. And so all these things just to improve customer experience, improve the cleanliness of the place, and how it looks to people when they're coming in from another town and they want to check out some local flavor. So I'm a firm believer. There's been a few other things. We painted the bathrooms, cleaned those up, did a few things in the kitchen, just installed a new back door. Overall improvements to this place. A tremendous amount of work done by essentially 4 people. And so we're excited to show that off. And all for the greater good of your experience to come hang out in that restaurant and tell your friends they should hang out there too.
Awesome. I love it. We've got some good comments that come in. I guess some folks that have seen a sneak peek at the floor. So the floors look amazing, which I agree. I saw them and they do look amazing. Eric Heatherly, who's your new neighbor over at Prince Street. And
what's up, Eric? Thanks for watching.
He said Prince Street rocks.
Yeah, we have a trendy, I almost said something I'm not supposed to say online. We have a trendy, awesome, attractive business front on Prince Street. Prince Street's kind of barren. There's not a lot of activity going on down Prince Street if you're not at the pizzeria. And now we have Every Era opening up across the street. It's been awesome to watch these guys put this thing together. It's like every day there's some new color, some new vibrant thing going in over there, and it's like I love that stuff.
It's really fun.
Yeah, and they're talking about bringing a variety show to the Palace Theater, and like that's the energy that we need down here on the square.
Yeah, and if you're watching and you haven't ever been to Prince Street or you're not familiar, Prince Street is just off the historic downtown square, and so it's it has a lot of opportunity and a lot of room for growth. But I think the folks like the Heatherleys and Brad and Spencer and the Prince Street team are doing some really great things over there to kind of turn that corner. Yeah, literally.
Patrick said, "Keep it scratchy." That's one of our mottos at BriarScratch when we're kind of building out, putting things together. So what if a piece of wood's got a chip off of it, or there's a scratch on the material, or like something didn't paint up quite right? Make it your own. Keep it scratchy. I'm keeping the vocal scratchy today, that's for sure.
Well, we're getting ready to wrap up. Lindsay chimed in and said, "Oh, love you guys. Best pizza ever. Gallatin rocks." We agree. We can't wait to cut a ribbon at Every Era soon. And I think we might be doing one at Philly's too to celebrate a grand reopening.
That's what I hear.
We'll see.
That's what I hear.
We're back to cutting ribbons. So if you're a business and you're watching and you need something celebrated, we're ready. Brad, before we wrap up today, what I've been asking everybody is, the past, I guess you said nine-ish weeks have been really wild for everybody. What have you been doing to kind of remain a sense of normalcy?
What is normal? My personal agenda hasn't changed very much. I mean, I have 120 acres between my dad and myself in Cottontown that's always got a tree that needs cutting up or grass that needs mowing. I have a building that the brewery is housed in that is an ever-going project of some sort of construction or expansion. We have 4 restaurants. Each restaurant's housed in a building that was built pre-1950. So there's just a dozen things that can always take a little piece of my attention. I have found myself using my tools more often. I've been acquiring quite the assortment of power tools and air nailers and things like that. So been making a lot of sawdust and sparks and things. I'm also remodeling a house here in Gallatin. We are myself and a good friend of mine are turning a 75-year-old house into something essentially that looks brand new. We're really excited about that project. It's also right here in downtown Gallatin. And I've just been eating pizza from the curbside, keeping it as normal as I can, enjoying a pint or two during the pandemic. So
awesome.
It's been okay for my end and my family and my friends. Everybody's seems to be healthy and happy and figuring it out their own way.
Well, we really appreciate you joining us today, and I'm glad you got to come over and be with me.
Sorry about my internet connection.
It's okay. Sorry that y'all had to. Sorry y'all had to see my office, like more than just my head.
Let's do this.
Yeah, let's do this.
I've got the Zen garden here.
Yeah, and my daughter really enjoys the Zen garden, so that's why you're sitting in what probably feels like a beach over there. So she was here with me on Friday, and I like Brad's shirt. Brad represented.
We did not plan this.
Wasn't planned.
No, it's soft and it feels good on my sunburn.
They are really nice.
Yeah.
We still have some for sale. We have the sunset and the green and gold. We also have station camp colors too. We got that maroon and silver. But hey, we so appreciate everybody joining us today. Brad, thank you for joining us.
Thank you everybody for watching.
Yeah, we've got a lot of folks.
Pretty decent amount of audience there. What are you guys doing at 10:30 a.m.? Shouldn't you be working today?
There's no rules.
There's no rules.
Well, hey, we'll be back with the C Show on Thursday at 10 a.m. with more ways that we can help support, educate, and engage our member businesses and the Gallatin community. I'll be joined with special guest Donna Belote, who is the director of Downtown Gallatin. She's going to give us an update on Downtown Gallatin and some of the happenings we can expect to see again soon. So with that, we hope you have a great day, and we will see you Thursday. Bye.